Hi, my name is Paul. It's April of 2024, and my goal today is to head out on a 4-week journey down the eastern side of the United States, visiting a number of historic sites along the way. Once I reach Florida, I plan to turn north and head up the western side of the Appalachian Mountains on my V-Strom 650. Over the course of the winter, I spent time working on the motorcycle, checking the valve clearances, changing the oil, changing the radiator fluid, putting 2 new tires on it, 4 new spark plugs, and I think the bike is finally ready to go. The weather here in New England is finally turning warmer. It's supposed to rain a little bit tomorrow, but I think by the time it arrives here, I'll be far enough south that hopefully I'll miss it completely. In addition to the historic sites that I plan to visit, I also hope to visit several museums devoted to aircraft and one devoted to motorcycles. So I think there's a mix of things that I'm going to see that should be interesting. I hope you'll watch and join me on this adventure, and let's get going.
I am in New York, crossing over 202, headed west. Got a late start this morning. I had some problems with the GoPro. Hopefully the audio is working at this point. Lake State Park, Pennsylvania. Home sweet home. For dinner tonight, I chinced out. Didn't get anything that I needed to cook, being my first night out. Tuna salad, a roll, blueberry cheesecake, and half a carton of milk. The other half is going to be used for breakfast in the morning. Absolutely delightful day. Good morning. It's day 2 and I am in Pennsylvania heading south today. I've got about a 3-hour ride to Sharpsburg, Maryland, where a very famous battle took place during the American Civil War in September of 1862, known as the Battle of Antietam, or sometimes it's called the Battle of Sharpsburg. I'm really looking forward to the visit to Antietam, It's a spot on American soil where there were more American casualties in a single day than any other event in American history. Nearly 23,000 casualties between the North and the South. So that was the meeting between the two generals. General McClellan at the time was responsible for the Northern Army, and General Lee was responsible for the Southern Army. Assuming the weather holds out, it should be a good ride down there, and then a nice afternoon visit before I head to a state park about 35-40 minutes away from Antietam, where I'll stay this evening. Pretty little stream here to my left. Surgeon's probe. A gruesome instrument. 20 soldiers received the Medal of Honor at this battle site. This New York memorial was created 100 years after the battle at Antietam. This is the Maryland Memorial. This is Dunker Church, a house of worship constructed by the local pacifist farmers in 1852 during the Battle of Antietam on Sunday, September 14th. It was the focal point of a number of Union attacks against the Confederate left flank. Dunker Church was rebuilt about 100 years after the original battle, but they found in some of the remains the name of a New York soldier that engraved his name, Henry Winters, into the sill, which is very cool. So now I'm going to ride around the park to some of the areas that have other monuments. It's really warmed up here today. It's probably in the low 70s. I'm going to have to strip off some of my warm gear that I was wearing this morning. But an absolutely beautiful day. So they have 4 different kinds of artillery here. 6-pound gun, 12-pound howitzer, a 3-inch ordnance gun, and a 10-pound Parrott rifle. Display caissons, which carried the shell and powder. So this memorial is dedicated to Clara Barton, who during the Battle of Antietam, September 17, 1862, brought supplies and nursing to the wounded. This monument is presented by the American Red Cross. Clara Barton is very famous for her
service during the Civil War as a nurse and an aide. This is the farm, Poffenberger Farm, where some of the Union divisions camped the night preceding the battle.
Joe Hooker's First Corps used this as a Corps headquarters, and when the sun rose on the day of battle, Confederate cannon located at Dunkirk Church fired on soldiers at the farm. When the First Corps attacked the Confederates around Dunkirk Church, the farm became a field hospital in the afternoon, but the Union surgeons quickly ran out of supplies. That is when Clara Barton arrived on the scene, bringing much-needed material.
This battlefield is like the Gettysburg battlefield, not too far from here, where the different regiments and units came back years after the war and put up their monuments for the men that served here. You can see Dunker's Church way off there in the distance. So I'm coming in right now from the east. I was up there where the farmhouse was. You can barely see it over the hill. And far to my left is the church that I first visited, the Dunkirk Church. And in this cornfield up ahead is one of the areas, the bloodiest battles that took place over the course of that one day, September 17th, 1862. We are now in the middle of the cornfield, which is a 24-acre field where the battle took place in the morning of September 17th. Philadelphia Brigade that fought here. Over the course of the entire war, lost over 3,400 men. We're in Philadelphia Brigade Park. That same brigade that I was just talking about lost 550 men in 20 minutes of combat.
This is the famous Sunken Road battle site.
There were 5,500 casualties north and south, and 3 hours of fighting on the Sunken Road. Afterwards, it was called Bloody Lane. The Confederates were defending this position, and the Union, in the beginning, came at them straight on and just got slaughtered because the Confederate position was so well protected, as you can see, by the fact that it's sunken down below the earth. Here is an observation tower. I'll try to climb if it's open.
This is Burnside's Bridge, where 500 Confederates resisted 3 major Union assaults over 3 hours. The Union soldiers eventually crossed Antietam Creek downstream and forced the Confederates to retreat, but the resistance provided valuable time for the Confederates to reinforce the position. The sycamore tree was a young sapling when the Antietam battle took place nearly 162 years ago. There's apparently a photograph from 1862 showing the tree at the battle site, and it is likely the last surviving thing to have witnessed the battle.
So the last stop is the cemetery. So only Union soldiers are buried here. With 4,776 Union soldiers.
The inscription reads, "Not for themselves, but for their country." So ends my day at Antietam National Battlefield Park. I am going to get back on my bike, start heading towards my campground, and pick up some food on the way. It's 5:12 in the afternoon, Gambrill State Park. Here we are, Gambrill State Park in Maryland. Tent site's back there somewhere. Okay, I confess, I'm cheating again. Easy dinner. Mac and cheese, chicken nuggets, sliced potatoes from the grocery store, all pre-cooked. Ubiquitous banana, and then a chocolate muffin for dessert. And I ended up with milk again. I'm going to see if I can break that habit tomorrow. But in any event, it is somewhere around 5:45 in the evening. I've got my campsite already set up. It's a 10 only site. I'm the only one here. There's 4 or 5 sites that are here.